All right. Hello and welcome. We're going to do a little preview show of the national championship, which is a rematch of last season, Florida State versus Utah. Utah is currently on a 31 game win streak. Florida State has dropped 3 games over the last 2 seasons. Last season, dropping to Utah in the championship and losing one other game, and then this season they lost to Western Michigan and then avenged that loss in the playoffs this past week in the semifinal. These two teams have been the top two in terms of overall. They've both got a lot of talent. It's going to be a tricky matchup. It's always been tight and tough every time these teams have matched up. So, with that being said, Florida State's led by senior Daniel Armstrong. With the running game, they have a two-headed attack in the running game, and then they've got great receivers. And in fact, Gene Bloom, their top receiver, he was heavily recruited by Utah when he came in. But this is the tale of the tape. Utah with the top offense and top defense in the country. They score the most points, allow the least. Florida State's right there with them with the second-ranked defense. Their offense, not quite the same, but they also play a little bit tougher schedule than Utah. So, it's not always one for one. Pac-12 has been notoriously bad for numerous seasons, though it's been picking up the past couple years with UCLA and USC finally starting to come in, and Stanford has been on an upward trajectory as well. But it's not quite like having Clemson every season in the ACC, as well as the non-conference playing Florida, as well as let's see who else did they play this year? Florida State. They've got Clemson. They played Western Michigan. They played Baylor, Boston College. All of them, pretty good teams. Florida's been notoriously good in the playoffs. They had they had Auburn, and then Western Michigan in that rematch that they won. They've got a great defense, great offense, really strong talent. Daniel Armstrong, he doesn't really have any knocks on him besides maybe his QB skill a little bit, but he's great leadership, work ethic, everything. He's a great leader for that offense. He's in his senior season. Last year, he kind of split time a little bit, so he's played a lot, got a lot of experience. And he's been a great quarterback for them, and should be be up in the draft, in the upcoming draft for the Pro League. Their running attack is led by Michael McLean and William Miller, two strong running backs. Really, strong and fast. I mean, that's probably the one area where Florida State's going to have Utah beat, is faster, more agile running backs. And it's a few ticks. It's not much. But McLean and Miller are both really great running backs. So that should be ideal for them. Gene Bloom, their top wide receiver, he's a freshman. Utah heavily went after him, like I said. Stellar intangibles. He's close to this 80-80-80, which we like to see. He's also 6'2", so he's tall, fast, agile, has great hands, and his endurance is great as well. So look for him to be pretty stellar in the passing game, as well as Escamilla, who's similar, taller, fast, good agility. Defense led by Kenneth Liu. He's their freshman. He just came in this past season, and did what he does. Decent, great tackling, good agility, good intangibles. He plays that position well. So that freshman Kenneth Liu, the linebacker position, look for him to kind of be all over the field. As far as the kicking game, that might be where Utah has the advantage. Roberts is, let's see if it'll open up the. Roberts is pretty good punter. He's got the distance, maybe not the accuracy, but 46.3 average, so he's pretty good. But their kicker, Fernando Gardner, he's got the distance and accuracy. It kind of hasn't played out like you'd want, a 73% field goal percentage this season, so a little underwhelming. And being that these are the top two defenses in the country, we might see this national championship come down to special teams. So kicking might be, an important factor in this national championship. So we'll take a look at Utah. So Utah, they're punting with Delbert Johnson. Decent guy, maybe not quite as much decent distance, but he's at a 47.5 average, 23 inside the 20. Arthur Jackson's been a pretty good kicker. His percentage has dropped as we've gone through the playoffs, as he's definitely missed some long kicks. So he was up around 89%. He's dropped down to 82% in the playoffs. So that might be something to be wary of. Maybe he'll miss some kicks. He's been pretty automatic on throughout the season in this national championship. Utah's led by quarterback Norm Sandoval. He's solid, decent intangibles, 45 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, really accurate. And that's kind of the difference between he and Armstrong on Florida State. Armstrong, even though he's got the numbers and he's got the physical tools to be more accurate, I think he was around 47% accuracy. So that might be a factor. Just Utah's hitting on maybe 16% more of their passes. They've also got a strong running game, led by Chris Beebe in his senior year, who's someone actually Utah, when he came in his freshman year, Utah and Florida State were kind of going head-to-head to pick him up. He's had a stellar career thus far as the all-time leader in yardage and touchdowns for Utah. He's a little bit slower, and see, this is what I said. Florida State might have a little bit of an advantage. They've got, their running backs are up at around 95 speed. BB's an 86, 94, but he's a little bit stronger. So, he's 79 strength, great intangibles, and he plays the position well. So BB will be a factor in this game along with John Miller. Miller's been a great running back for Utah, kind of unheralded coming in. As you see his ranking 2801. So he kind of came in out of nowhere. Great speed and agility, as well as strength. And then they've got another senior, Richard Vincent, Dobson. I mean, Utah's pretty deep in the running core as well. And that's kind of, like I said, Florida State and Utah, a lot of ways mirror each other. They're led by another kind of unheralded receiver, Mariano Petway, who's a junior this season. Great hands, great agility, a little bit slower. And again, that might be where Florida State has an advantage. Another spot I think Utah might have an advantage is in their corners. They're a little bit deeper and quicker than Florida State in the cornerback position. So let's go take a look at Utah's corners. So Utah's got Roderick Coe, who's a senior. They've got Daniel Platt. All of their corners are around 90 speed. So That's kind of a difference to contrast with Florida State. Let's just go take a look at them real quick in their corner position. So Florida State's got two guys that are up around 90, and then they start to drop off from there. But all of their corners play the position well. They're definitely strong there. Utah just might have the slight advantage because, like I said, these two teams are very, very, very evenly matched. Utah's led on the defense by John O'Brien, who currently leads the country in sacks. Let's go take a look at him. So they've got two ends that are pretty good. 50 tackles, 10 sacks out of John O'Brien, who's definitely going to be playing in the Pro League coming up in the upcoming draft. But they've also got Victor Frost on the other side, who's got 9 sacks. So it's 19 sacks between those two players. It's hard to call how this one will go. It's kind of been either direction for both teams. Anytime they've matched up, so Utah's going to play the run well. They tend to play the pass well, but Utah gives up a little bit more yardage in the pass game than the run game. But both teams are really stellar against the run, so it really might come down to the passing and kicking in this game. Utah's the 6th ranked passing defense. 4th ranked rushing defense, but combined, they allow the least amount of yards in the country. They've also got a really strong running game. Utah's is the top running game in the country, 240 yards a game behind BB and Miller. Not really too many injuries to speak of for either team. Leland Harder, he's the starting strong safety. He'll be probable in this game. And I think Florida State has one guy injured. I think it's their D end. We'll go peek at that again. Yeah, Josh Koenig, but I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's a main guy. So, not really too much missing for either team. So it's nice to be coming into this game. Both teams seem to be healthy. Ready to go, and we're gonna have a big time clash. So I'm curious what the thoughts are. I'm gonna predict Utah winning in a close one, 33-30. But I'm curious what everyone else's predictions might be for this national championship. Leave them up in the Discord, and let's chat about it. Otherwise, next stream we'll be streaming the national championship and get to see how this all shapes up.